And to the extent I
Wouldn't you recall, Mr. Bove, if you said or suggested during a meeting with Justice Department lawyers that maybe they should consider telling the court, fuck you? It seems to me that would be something you'd remember unless that's the kind of thing you say frequently. Also says in the complaint, Bove indicated and stressed to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. These are the planes that a judge was ordering not be used to render people to a maximum security prison outside the country. Did you say during that meeting, did you stress to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what?
Senator, your characterization is not accurate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Rights Rally. I'm glad you're here, because today we're digging into a Senate hearing that's been getting a lot of buzz, the one involving former federal prosecutor Emil Bove and a whistleblower complaint that's been making headlines. Now, before we jump in, let's make one thing clear. This isn't about cheering for one political side over the other. This is about fairness, due process, and integrity, values that every American should stand behind. The hearing started with heavy accusations, quotes pulled from a whistleblower complaint suggesting that Emil Bove told Justice Department lawyers to ignore court orders and make planes take off no matter what. But when you listen closely to the testimony, it's obvious that Bove never admitted to saying those things, and he directly stated there were no court orders in place at that time.
Mr. Bove, I want to turn to the meeting that Mr. Ruvani, the whistleblower, has written an extensive complaint about. The hearing started with the chairman reading a social media post by the Deputy Attorney General Blanche, who is present today but not under oath, nor is that social media post under oath. So let me ask you, since you are under oath, in the complaint it says, Bove stated that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignoring any such court order. Did you say anything of that kind in the meeting?
Senator, I have no recollection of saying anything of that kind. To the extent I
Wouldn't you recall, Mr. Bove, if you said or suggested during a meeting with Justice Department lawyers that maybe they should consider telling the court, fuck you? It seems to me that would be something you'd remember unless that's the kind of thing you say frequently.
Well, I've certainly said things encouraging litigators at the department to fight hard for valid positions that we have to take in defense of our clients.
And have you frequently suggested that they say fuck you and ignore court orders? Is that also something you frequently do, such you might not remember doing it on this occasion?
No, and as I explained, I have never directed...
So did you or did you not make those comments during that meeting?
Which comments, Senator?
You really need me to repeat it? Did you suggest, as Mr. Ruvani wrote, that DOJ would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such court order?
I did not suggest that there would be any need to consider ignoring court orders. At the point of that meeting, there were no court orders to discuss.
Well, did you suggest telling the courts, fuck you in any manner?
I don't recall.
You just don't remember that. Well, let me ask you this. It also says in the complaint, Bove indicated and stressed to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. These are the planes that a judge was ordering not be used to render people to a maximum security prison outside the country. Did you say during that meeting, did you stress to all in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what?
Senator, your characterization is not accurate.
It's not my characterization. It's the characterization of a decorated prosecutor who was in that meeting. Are you saying that he's lying?
As I said at the beginning of the hearing...
No, I'm not interested in what you said at the beginning of the hearing. I'm interested in whether you stressed to people in attendance that the planes needed to take off no matter what. Did you say that?
I certainly conveyed the importance of the upcoming operation.
Well, don't paraphrase here. Did you tell people in attendance the planes needed to take off no matter what?
I don't recall the specific words that I used.
Wouldn't you recall saying that if you had instructed that the planes needed to take off no matter what, including whether the court ordered otherwise? You wouldn't remember that?
This is a mischaracterization, Senator. There were no court orders at this point.
Well, there was a court order, wasn't there?
No,
wasn't there a court order by Judge Boasberg, if not in this specific case, then in related cases? That people not be sent out of the country until the court could rule? Wasn't there a court order?
Not at the time of that meeting, Senator.
Did you participate in a decision not to disseminate that oral court order prior to the written court order to other agencies so those planes would not take off, so those planes would turn around? Were you involved in the decision to withhold that court order from the responsible agencies?
I think it's clear that I participated.
Yes or no?
I participated in this matter, and I'm not going to get into the contents of legal advice. I did, over the course of time, as many lawyers have.
No, I'm not interested in over the course of time. I'm interested in whether you participated in the willful violation of court orders as alleged in this complaint. Let me ask you this, Mr. Bove, if there are notes of that meeting, will you provide them to this committee?
I defer to the committee and to the executive branch on the procedure.
And if the committee requests them, will you provide those notes to the committee?
I defer to the executive branch on the handling of that request.
And let me ask you about notes from another meeting, which you're contesting here, and that is the meeting over the decision to dismiss the case in New York, the corruption case against the mayor of New York. According to Ms. Sassoon, the U.S. attorney at the time, during the meeting with Adams' attorneys, where she described Adams' attorneys repeatedly urging what amounted to a quid pro quo, that you admonished one of the lawyers in the room to stop taking notes. Is that true?
I don't believe I instructed that attorney to stop taking notes. I did remark on the fact that he was taking extensive notes, yes.
And why did it concern you that he was taking notes of that meeting?
Because at that point in the meeting, we were discussing who was responsible for media leaks, and I was making the point that only the prosecutors had created an extensive record that could support detailed leaks.
And you were concerned, were you, that information about this potential quid pro quo might become public? Was that the concern?
I've explained that there was no quid pro quo.
Will you provide the notes of that meeting, which you, according to the U.S. attorney, instructed be collected at the end of the meeting?
I think a member of my staff may have given that instruction outside my presence, and I defer to the committee and the executive branch on records requests and how those should be handled.
Well, I would request that we seek these records, which go to the truthfulness or lack of truthfulness of this witness. There's a reason why, if I may, my colleagues have gone over at least as much as this. There must be a reason why prosecutors quit rather than following orders from you they considered unethical. There must be a reason why prosecutors complained about you in your own office, why defense attorneys complained about you in your own office, why the judge in the case involving the dismissal of the charges in New York said everything here smacks of a bargain. You testified earlier that the objective evidence overwhelmingly made it clear that it was not a bargain. That there must be a reason why everyone disagrees with you, Mr. Bove, and people feel it necessary to give up a job they love at the Department of Justice and quit because they won't go along with what they consider unethical and immoral orders from you. There must be a reason why that is so true of so many, and this court needs to get to the bottom of it. I yield back.
Well, as a former judge, I like being referred to as the court. But as the chair, I will turn it over to Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Madam.
He said he was emphasizing the importance of the operation, not defying the law. That's a crucial distinction that a lot of headlines conveniently skipped. Critics jumped on Bove's use of phrases like, "I don't recall." But anyone who's worked in law knows those words aren't evasive, they're careful. When you're under oath, you answer precisely. If you're unsure of the exact wording of something said in a high-pressure meeting years ago, you don't guess. That's professionalism, not deception. The hearing made it sound like Bove personally ordered planes to fly in defiance of a judge. But again, at that point, there were no standing court orders. He clarified that he was reminding his team about the urgency of an operation, not disregarding the law. The media's version turns a normal discussion about logistics and national security into a drama about rebellion. That's unfair to someone who spent his career upholding justice. The senator pressed hard on whether Bove helped withhold a court order from other agencies. Bove declined to discuss the specifics because of legal confidentiality, not because he was hiding guilt. Every lawyer watching knows that discussing privileged legal advice publicly can violate ethics rules. His restraint actually shows respect for the law, not disregard for it. Next, they brought up the dismissed corruption case involving the mayor of New York, another attempt to paint Bove as political. But Bove said clearly, there was no quid pro quo, no deal, and no misconduct. He explained that his concern about note-taking during the meeting was about preventing media leaks, which can jeopardize active investigations. That's a legitimate concern in any sensitive case. Protecting confidentiality doesn't mean you're hiding corruption, it means you're protecting justice. We heard claims that prosecutors resigned under Bove's leadership. Look, anyone who's worked in a tough legal or military environment knows, disagreements happen. People walk away when they don't share the same strategy or interpretation of the law. That doesn't make one side unethical. It just shows that Bove demanded high standards and wasn't afraid to make hard calls, even when they were unpopular. Let's not forget who Emil Bove is. He's not a political appointee chasing headlines. He's a career prosecutor who's handled terrorism, organized crime, and corruption cases. He served his country, followed the chain of command, and stood for the rule of law in some of the toughest environments imaginable. To see his name dragged through the mud based on speculation is exactly the kind of Washington spectacle that turns good people away from public service. This hearing wasn't about uncovering truth, it was about political theater. Senators interrupting, repeating questions, trying to score viral clips, while the witness under oath stays calm, respectful, and professional. And through it all, Emil Bove didn't lash out. He didn't get defensive. He just answered carefully and stuck to the facts. That's composure under pressure, the kind of attitude we need more of, not less. As Americans, we should want our Justice Department filled with people who think before they speak, follow procedure, and respect court processes, even when politics are raging around them. Emil Bove's testimony wasn't flashy. It was measured, responsible, and lawful. That's what justice is supposed to look like. So here's the takeaway. Before jumping on the outrage train, listen to the full context. Emil Bove didn't tell anyone to break the law. He didn't defy a judge. He didn't make shady deals. He acted like a professional under immense pressure, and that deserves recognition, not condemnation. Let's bring back a little fairness to our national conversations. You can respect the whistleblower process and recognize that sometimes people get accused unfairly. If you believe that truth still matters more than headlines, hit that like button. Subscribe for more fact-based analysis, not spin. And remember, justice doesn't belong to one party, it belongs to the American people. Stay informed, stay calm, and stay patriotic. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.